How's it going, friends and family of the internet? Welcome to the Real AF TV podcast, the show about fishing and random takes from the land of 10,000 lakes. I'm one of your hosts, Josh LaBaw.
And I'm the other guy, Tim Wagner, or other host. I don't know why I say other guy sometimes.
Mix it up. Keep
I'm
it
that
fresh
other
for
fella.
the listeners. I messed that one up a little bit. I kind of ran out of gas there. I forgot to take a breath before I did that one.
It's all right.
Oh, I also wanted to kick it off right away. I keep forgetting. I have to say this more. Every other week. We release every other week. Like I keep forgetting. I would just roll right in the podcast. I'm like, oh yeah, God, I should really tell. Like, hey, new people who are sharing this. The Real AF TV podcast drops every other week on Mondays, and then on our off week, we split the topics because we are fishing and random take podcast. Fishing goes out on Wednesday, random take comes out on Friday, and then bam, Monday morning we're back.
Bam.
With a brand new podcast.
That's right.
The reason why I wanted to bring that up is because we haven't been doing splits lately here over the holidays because of the way the episodes that we did, the holiday ones don't. And then last week we kicked off the new year with sort of a different kind of podcast, just flowed about itself. And so I was like, shit, I got to do that again. Remember, every other week we're on Spotify and iTunes and all that shit. Just subscribe to us and you'll pop up every other Monday.
That's right.
So, fishing. We're going to talk ice shanties, ice houses. Oh, there's so many. It's so weird. We'll get into words later.
So many options.
And the random take, what you listening to? Music edition. Ooh. I'm ready. We haven't talked music. Has always been a big thing that connected us, Tim. And I was like, fuck, man, it's been like years since we actually talked about, like, what are we really listening to?
Yeah, dude. The answer is all sorts of shit.
For real. It really is. Which I think is probably one of the things that always bonded us is like, yeah, we've always had our love for hip hop and like that being like kind of our main music, but like everything.
Right. For sure. It's all over the board. Like, even back in the day when you're in high school, and everybody's like, oh, bro, you listen in sync? Just like, no. And then like the doors close and you're like, bye.
Quick, TRL's on, dude. I know NSYNC's gonna be in the top 2. Get that shit on.
You just, if it's good music, it's good music. Now you got everybody from back in the high school that used to shit on it, acting like they like it on the dance floor, and you're just like, don't you come at me, you fucking poser.
You fucking poser. I've actually been listening to this shit forever.
Yeah, I had Justin Timberlake's poster on my wall. I didn't, but
right, I know. I get what you're saying though. It's funny. All right, let's hit him with some fishing news right off the bat. That is what we do now. That is, we just picked that up not too long ago. So hit us with the fishing news. This is old fishing news. This is fishing news we should have covered back in November.
When it was news, breaking news.
When it was still new news. But like it came up in my feed again and I was like, oh yeah. What the fuck, dude? We never talked about that. Mike Iaconelli is back on the Bassmaster Tour.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, what?
I don't know why I say it, but I'd like follow him on Instagram. And every time I see him, I say, it's like, I don't know why, but it's like Mike Iaconelli.
Yeah.
And then I say like, Nickel. It's like, I don't know, it happened one day and then I just every time I see him I say it because it's just like, oh, Nickel.
Oh, that's pretty good. I was just like, what'd you say about nickels? Like,
did
he do something with like a 5 cent? Like, yeah, and you definitely have to be careful.
There's a couple letters away. If you screw it up,
you're in trouble.
Yeah, if I screw it up, you're never gonna know because we don't do a live podcast. And I'm gonna be like, Josh, got this
right there. 4-minute mark. You gotta get that one out of there. Slipped it. Anyways, I didn't know who Mike was, because I was never the fisher, and I can't, it was you and Sam, I think. I don't know. I think we were all just sitting around, me, you, and Sam, and I was never give up. And I'm just like,
give up.
And I was like, what are you guys talking about? And you're like, you don't know Mike Iaconelli? And I'm like, no. And now I'm just like, oh, he is to fishing what Kevin Garnett is to basketball with anything is possible.
Yeah, yes, exactly. It's the same. Anything is possible. But his story, there's like, I know Garnett has his thing too, but Garnett was in the league forever, and Garnett just finally won the championship, and like that's what Mike did too. But that was like right at the beginning of Mike's career.
Yeah,
and like his personal life wasn't awesome, and like he ended up like sleeping in his boat and stuff. It's in his book. It's kind of
really
intense, yeah. Where he was like at points almost like, I don't know if I can do this.
Mm-hmm.
And then he goes and he pulls off that big win. So then it was like this moment of like self-doubt and shit's just not going right in his life. I think he just got a divorce.
Oh, okay.
And like everything was like kind of falling apart. And then fucking boom, just keep at it. Anything is possible. And then just his intensity. Just he just screaming.
Well, he must have, I can't imagine, because he's probably in such a low that when that happened, it was like all that emotion just like came out. Probably couldn't even really control it because he knew what just happened, and he had been having such a bad time leading up to it. I bet you would just
well, and it was like a sudden death thing or whatever. I can't remember if it was a sudden death thing or he knew he only had like 10 minutes left and he knew what the leaderboard looked like, but he knew like he just needed one fish, like one good fish.
One good one, yeah.
And then he caught that one good one. It wasn't even giant. That's the crazy part to me. Like, it's just a good fish. And he knew, like, that's enough. I can't believe it. Like
right. Yeah,
how
that's
confident
crazy.
he is too. There's no way I would have freaked out like that. I would have been like, "Oh my god, that might have been it. I might have just done it.
Right,
that could have been it."
And he just knew. Like as soon as he got his hand on it, he just knew.
Yeah.
Like I've seen the video now. Of course, I've seen it many times. Because I also the reason why this came up is because I was reading an article that he had posted on his Twitter, or maybe it was even just a Twitter post or something. And he basically said something to the effect of like, you may not like what I've done for the sport or something like that. And I was like, what? Like, why? Because he brought energy and like excitement to it or something? I don't know.
Maybe.
Obviously he didn't go into any details there. But he's got, was it B.A.S.S, right? Is that him?
Yes. Yep. B.A.S.S University, I believe, is his deal. I know. I haven't.
He's at least a co-founder. Oh, I remember. He's a co-founder, or he's at least a partial founder. He's not just doing it. It's not just him solo. Yeah, I remember hearing that.
Yeah, because I know that he's on there and he's like a big advocate for it, and like he's always pushing it on his Instagram and stuff.
Yep.
But I don't know. I didn't know if he was the co-founder. I know that he puts all the information out there. Like there's a bunch of stuff you can watch. I'm part of B.A.S.S University.
Sure.
I enjoy watching their stuff. Like, it's cool to listen to the pros talk about what they do and how they do stuff.
Oh,
and
yeah. Big time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I found a couple on Twitter where they're just putting out these YouTube videos, even where a couple pros just put out YouTube videos, and I just retweet it and I go, that's why they're pro.
Yeah. The only thing
I'll just quote tweet it and be like, that's why this person is pro.
Right.
Just watch this video.
In case anybody at B.A.S.S University ever catches wind of this, the only thing I wish is that you had an audio only version, because I would listen to that shit while I was driving a lot, and I do sometimes on the way home, but I have to like have it actually open in a video. I can't. It doesn't play in the background.
Yeah, you can't lock your phone and then just leave it in your pocket.
Yeah.
Right.
So I set it on the dash.
Yep.
And I let it play. But like, if I ever get in an accident, is that going to get me in trouble? I'm not actually watching it, but if you go and look at my phone, it's like you were just watching a video. Like,
right.
Well, I mean, yeah, my phone had a video playing. I wasn't watching it.
Right.
Because you don't need to watch it. I mean, some points, yeah, where there's just like, oh, I like to use this lure or whatever, but most of it's just audio.
Yeah. And you, someone and someone like you who's already quite the fisherman, learning more, you can kind of picture it in your head almost in a way, right? Like,
oh, for sure,
they're just
yeah.
describing it so well that you can figure it out.
Well, and very rarely do they say a lure that I don't know. So they'll like be like, "Oh, you like to use this lure," and then they'll explain it, and I'll be like, "Oh, yeah, no, that makes sense. I get it. Like, I know
Right.
what that lure is."
Right. Yeah, for sure. For sure. So anyways, yeah. So it's Bass U. I didn't mean to get on Bass U, but I'm obviously super interested. So, but yeah, like he got a new TV show that just came out.
Oh yeah, I saw
He was
him.
taking like other celebrities basically fishing, and then he would do his thing. They would do a day in their each respective thing. It's kind of how the
Yep,
concept was that I could see. I didn't have the channel to watch it, so I just was following him on Twitter while that was rolling out. But
yep,
he's got his
yep.
podcast, his TV shows. Like, he's got a lot going on. And basically he said that they considered, because he's talking about his whole team, right? Like, he's got like his family is around it. He's got like his family's always really involved. He's like, the people around me helped me make this decision. He when he announced it, I guess he's just like, I'm not just doing this, it's not just
Right,
me. And it's like, yeah, man, cool. But basically, this is a quote: "Spread the word and get more people to fish without tournament fishing." So he was just considering, can he do it? Like, is all that other stuff that he's already doing, is that already enough? Does he need to go back to tournament fishing? And basically, he just said, "Yeah, I don't want to retire yet. I still got
right,
wins in me, and I'm coming
right.
back." It
Nice.
was like, oh, sweet, killer,
Yeah.
dude. Because he qualified in the he got second in the 2021 BassPro.com Northern Opens, and that's how he got his invite back to the elite.
Okay.
He had been doing a ton of the kayak stuff,
Oh
and
yeah.
because again, I'm just mostly watching him from the outside on Twitter, and a little bit on his YouTube. So he was doing a lot of the kayak stuff, which I just learned Bass started doing that.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
B.A.S.S just started that. So I don't know if he was even on that circuit or if that was what he was doing, but he was doing a ton of kayak stuff. And I thought, maybe that's just what he's going to do now.
right. Yeah. And dude, the kayak stuff is like, the kayaks are getting so dope out there, man. It's ridiculous how
Oh,
good,
it's crazy to see him.
how nice some of those are. But
Mm-hmm.
his I think he just got his first win not too long ago. Like, I think he did well, but he finally got like the first place
In
win.
kayaking.
And then I think that
And
might have ignited a fuel,
yeah,
where he's like, "Yes, I got the win. I,
right.
did it in something different, but I'd
Right.
really like to go back to having 20 rods."
Right. I do wonder if the kayak, because that's why I brought it up too, is like, I wanted to see if you sort of had the same feelings. It's like, I wonder if that kayak fishing got him the itch again.
Yep.
And
Yep.
he was like, "Oh yeah, this tournament fishing thing. This is kind of what I do, isn't it?"
Right.
I mean, he's a great entertainer. From all that I've seen too. He's
Oh
definitely
yeah, for
got
sure.
his career established after tournament fishing.
And he's always been an entertainer his whole life. Before fishing, he was um oh gosh dang it, I can't remember what they called themselves. It was like a dance group from Jersey, and I can't think of it right now.
Oh, for
But
real?
like, he can break dance.
Oh, that's so funny, because
Yeah.
that explains a lot about why he was trying to. Why he made a joke around the Olympics time, where he was saying something like, "Well, if breakdancing's in, fishing should get in," and he came out in like old breakdance gear with the old boombox and stuff like that.
Oh,
So he
nice.
was being like serious. I thought he was
Yeah.
just making a joke, but like,
Oh, he probably was making a joke, but
oh, he was making a joke, but he was
yeah.
making like a serious joke, like a throwback joke.
Right. Yep.
That's
Yep. For
funny.
his fans that know, he was just
Right.
like, "Yeah, bringing it back." Yeah, because I remember in his book, he does some breakdancing like at one of the weigh-ins or whatever, and he didn't. I
Mm.
don't think he really wanted to, but somebody else like told him like, "Here's what you should do," and then he was like, "Oh yeah, okay, yeah, I should definitely do that." And so then he like breakdanced. So maybe that's what it was.
Oh, okay.
Where like he brought some antics that were funner, and I don't know if there's just some old, you know, assholes that are just like, "You don't dance on that stage." I don't I don't know. I haven't heard
Right.
anything. I know
I
some
gotcha.
people aren't like his biggest fan because he's kind of like, that loud, lot of energy guy.
Right.
But
That's
it's
what I
like,
was thinking. Is he's the out there guy?
just because he's not your style doesn't mean you should be like, I don't like what he brings to the sport, and just like, well, then
Right.
outfish him and shut the fuck up. And then
Yeah, exactly. So yeah. Anyways, just some old news that we should have covered a long time ago. Just bringing it up, like, oh yeah, Ike's going to be fishing on Bassmaster again this year, so that'll be fun. Housekeeping. Monster Bass, patreon.com/realaftv. We'll talk about them at the break. And please, pod reviews. Reviews are on Shopify. Shopify. God damn it. Spotify.
Spotify. I gotta say that I was laughing because of how you brought up housekeeping. It was pretty like you just sounded like you were at the door. You're just like, housekeeping. And then you went into it. I don't know if you intended on doing that, but that got me good.
Nope, I didn't, but I'm glad that that's the way it came out. But yeah, iTunes, Spotify, they have reviews up now. So we just want to try to encourage you guys, if you can, share with your friends and tell us the reviews, because that helps push the podcast to the top. Also, we're on Amazon Music, don't forget, but they don't have anything fancy like reviews up right now. All right, man, that's enough. You still got your little shot of whiskey? Let's get into the topic.
Yes.
Let's get into the fishing topic.
I have a shot.
You're going to take it? Are you going to shoot it?
I'm going to shoot it. It's not whiskey, but I'll shoot it, and I'll tell you what it is.
Oh, okay. I'm just going to do a little one.
It's a Viking shot as a toast to our shit season, but also we got coach is gone, GM's gone, offensive coordinator gone.
Oh, geez.
They clean house. So cheers to making some good decisions, hopefully.
Oh, mine's the little of the Japanese whiskey, the last of it.
Why is that Japanese whiskey? It's actually pretty good. I'm making some weird faces, but it's just because it's a little bit odd as a shot. I mixed it with stuff last time and it worked. But check this out. You ever heard of this? You know what I'm drinking? Jägermeister. But
what?
This.
Oh, yeah, dude. I've always wanted to try that.
Cold brew. Yeah. And it's not bad. It legitimately tastes like coffee, but it also has like that Jaeger
bite
licorice.
To it.
Yeah. Yep. Herbal liquor made with Arabic. How do you even say that word? Arabica coffee and a hint of cacao.
Okay.
So it's pretty good. And what I had it with was a cream liquor.
Oh,
like an Irish
mixed
cream.
Together.
Yeah, like I made like mostly cream and then put that because I got that and I'm like, like I want to try this, but like, what do I drink it with? And I go, what goes with coffee? Cream, like instant cream.
Yes,
cream goes with coffee. So like, I'm just like, get cream liquor. And then I ended up getting 2 like gift boxes. I wasn't even trying to. I was just looking in the liquor store. This came with a cold brew like aluminum cup, and then the other one came with like a regular ceramic cup. It was I can't even remember what it was. It's some off-brand Irish cream. I was just looking for like the cheapest cream liquor they had, and the cheapest one they had came with a coffee mug, and I'm like, okay, whatever.
Okay, enough of the booze stuff. Let's talk about ice houses, ice shanties, ice. I don't know what else. What else are they called?
I think that's pretty much it. Ice houses. Shanties. There's permanents and there's pop-ups. There's different forms of houses.
Yeah. Before we call them ice house. I call it. Oh, go ahead.
Real quick before we get into the houses, I gotta show and tell. Yeah. Gotta get it through on a fishing segment. So I've never had a St. Croix rod before. You can afford to buy them when it's ice fishing because they're half the size, so they're half the price. So I bought a St. Croix rod, and then I just got this reel in the mail today. I ordered it, and I'm excited.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Yeah, it was supposed to come tomorrow, and it came today, and I'm like, "Oh," and I'm just
Oh, fuck
excited.
yeah, good
Yeah.
timing.
So, I've been super pumped on this brand, like, the idea of it, and I haven't had any of it yet, so I'm, excited to try it out, but it's
Oh,
Piscifun? I don't
dude,
even know. But look at this reel and this rod.
that
Look at you
thing
see
is
that rod?
sick.
The
Yeah,
finger goes
what?
right there, so you're, like, touching the blank, so as you're jigging,
Dude.
and then that reel is, like looks like a chrome rim almost to me, like, you can get it
Yeah,
in
yeah, yeah.
black and red or the chrome, and I'm just like, I'm a chrome kinda guy. But, like,
Yeah,
this
dude, that
reel,
thing is sick. You gotta
I
go over to YouTube and look at the video.
yeah,
This thing is sick.
you gotta
You're
go over to
listening to this on the
YouTube.
audio version?
Yeah, because dude, I open it up immediately. I go to the box and I open it up and I'm like, so fine, so fine, don't mind. Just it's a good looking, good looking reel. But yes, I'm super
Yes, it
pumped
is.
to. I'll be putting some line on this tomorrow night, and then we'll see how things go. Might be trying it out this weekend. We had other
Oh,
plans,
nice.
but my wife's not feeling great, and then my niece isn't feeling great. We were supposed to do something with the in-laws, and if nobody's feeling
Mm,
great, then I might go fishing.
mhm. Work it out.
Yeah, and then
Hell yeah, dude.
the other little whoopsie thing I gotta get out of the way is that we're talking about some ice houses made by a bunch of different manufacturers. One of them
Oh,
being
yeah, yeah,
Clam. I got this
yeah.
sweatshirt. The if you go back to the Christmas episode and we were talking to, or no, the New Year's episode, because we were talking about
Yeah.
what we got, and this was totally a Christmas present from my wife. And I was just like naming some things, and I'm like, I feel like I forgot
Uh-huh.
something, and I'm like, oh yeah, my dope ass,
Your
ice fishing
clam hoodie.
sweatshirt from my
Yeah,
wife.
dude.
Like, can't forget to say that. So I'm like, I gotta get a
Right.
recall on. I can't think of the right word, but I gotta get a second chance on that
Like
one.
a
Like,
like a
I got.
rebuttal on that.
She didn't call me out on it. I realized it myself, and I'm like, I gotta say this before she hears that
Right,
other
because you're like, "Yes. Yeah, I like it." So yeah, ice houses, I guess, because that's what I call them. What do you have you ever been
Yeah, I
more
always call them. No, I always call them ice houses, but then, like, when you talk to people that know, they're always like, "What kind?" So it's like, they're
Mhm.
curious if you have a permanent, which is basically just a house,
Mm.
or a
Mhm.
wheelhouse is what they call them, because they have basically their trailer built
Mhm.
into the house,
Yep.
or, like a pop up where you bring
Yep.
it out and you just set it up.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
So,
and we'll
or
get into
they
that
have
for
the
sure.
sled, the like pull over ones or whatever, where it's like a sled and then it has the thing that just folds over too. So
Yeah, yeah, and we'll get more into that for sure as we kind of go through, like, the brands and stuff like that, but, like,
yeah,
dude, we've already talked about this. We always talk about it. Like, hobbies aren't cheap. Ice fishing is
mm-mm.
not cheap. Like
No, it ain't.
$400+ for a in quotes. I put two person in quotes because I
Yeah,
don't know. Some of those times you look at those two person houses and you're like, fuck that, dude. I'm not going in
that's
there with two people.
that's like one of the like $400 for. Well, I guess it all depends on what you're looking at too.
It
Four
does.
hundred dollars like for like the sled style, you can get like $1,000 for a 2-person one, where it's like the sled and everything's
Oh,
set
for
up. You just
sure.
pull it out
This
there.
was on the low end. Like
Yeah.
I just found like, oh yeah, I mean, if you could find a $400 two person one. You could find
Yep.
$1,000 two person one.
Right. Yeah. It's crazy, and those are just pop ups. That's not permanent. Permanents are.
Yeah. So when you say permanent, you're talking about like a hard structure that has like four wooden walls at least. Somehow it is driven out onto the ice.
Yep.
Like
Yep.
you don't move
Yeah.
this thing pretty much. That's why it's called a
Right.
permanent. Like you
Yep.
drop it in one
Yep.
spot and you leave it there, which you said in our last episode. You were like, I got to figure out why those people in those permanents are, because it makes total sense if you're in these more that we'll get into later. If you're in these more portable ones, you can do what you do when you're fishing, and that's move around and try to find the fish. But what
Right.
the fuck are these guys doing that are just dropping houses on the ice and walking away from it, or going out there every
Yeah.
day, same spot? Like, What's
I
that
don't
about?
know. I was also thinking about it after I said it, and
Mhm.
they might not know what they're doing either, you know? Like, I've been fishing in the summer where I see
They're there
people
for
in
the
this.
culture.
Yeah, I've been fishing in the summer where I see somebody in a weird ass spot, and I'm like, I don't think that guy knows what he's doing. And then you see him like pull up on the spot where you're at later, and he's like fishing like weird, and you're just like, oh, he for sure
Oh.
doesn't know what he's doing, you know? And then I started thinking about it. I'm like, I suppose that could be the same thing in the winter. These people are just like, old men that are just like, I go 50 paces out from the tree that has the splinter that points to the north, and that's where
Yep.
I set it up,
Yep,
and there's
yep,
no
yep.
rhyme or reason to it.
Right, right, right. That is the reason. That is the rhyme.
Right, right, right.
uh so as I was looking up these houses, it's like, you could get like a pack and play house, as I called it, for like $250.
Yeah.
And so it's like a one person, and if for those of you who don't have kids that are like, what's a pack and play? Um is basically like a lawn chair, like a fold out lawn chair. You just jam it in a bag and that's it.
Yep.
And so you can get this, you get like a $250 pack and play house, as I called it. And then I looked at the weight, it's 30 pounds. And I'm like, fucking fuck, dude.
Yeah.
You have to haul around that 30 pounds, including all your other gear. Probably got a heater with you. Maybe not at this point because you're a one person, smaller house. Like, you could probably keep that house fairly well warm just by putting it over yourself. But like, shit, I don't know about you, man, but I think that's heavy.
Yeah, dude. It's like, it's not too bad depending on how they package it up. Like
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have a sled to pull all my stuff in. So a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times I'll just throw it in there. But it's also I was trying to look at the weight of mine. Mine's lighter than most. And I want to say mine's like 22 pounds
Mm.
or something.
Okay.
But
And do you have? Oh, go ahead.
it has a big pack, like it goes inside this big thing. It's
Mm-hmm.
long. It's the height of
Yeah.
the deal because it has like
Yeah.
hard poles in it or whatever. Like you said, pack and play. Like you take it out and it just, like you're basically ready to go. But it has
Right.
big,
Right.
like backpack straps, so I can
No,
put it on my
nice.
back like a backpack, and then
Oh, okay.
20
Very good.
pounds on a backpack isn't much. You
Yeah,
know
no, you could haul that around, and then you
it
got your hands free for the other gears too. Like
right.
some of these that I saw, it was like a side hold, like
Oh
like you
yeah,
just
that would be,
like a bag with
yeah,
a fold up chair in it. And I was kind of
that
like,
would
30 pounds with that?
yeah.
Fuck that.
That would suck if you're trying to carry a 30-pound duffel bag. Like it doesn't it's not
Duffel
much at
bag, good.
first, but when
That's the
you're
way to put it.
it depends on like what time of the year you're going out. If you have like a sled that you could put everything on and then you're pulling it with something, not a big deal at all. But if you're trying to
Right.
carry it out like a duffel bag and you're trying to walk out to your spot from the landing, wherever, the boat landing is, because that's where
Mm-hmm.
parking is for the most part, that
Right.
that you're going to switch hands a lot on that walk,
A
you know.
lot. And how are you going to do that with all your extra gear too?
Right. But I have a sled. I have a big sled that I put everything in. Like they make big
Yeah,
sleds for that
they
stuff.
make
So
sleds for that stuff too. Yep.
yeah, so I can throw it. It sits like over the top. It doesn't fit in it, but it sits on it well enough.
Right. Right.
So
Yep.
yeah.
Okay. All right. Some interruptions. Some things got in the way. I lost my camera. Son of a bitch. Shit. Let's
What are you gonna
keep
do?
this momentum going though. Let's get it going. Let's get it going again. Ice houses, ice shanties.
Ice.
You know what I
Yeah.
thought of? I thought of it.
What's that?
Man. Fishing house, fish house, something like that. Those are the other
Yeah.
phrases that I use. I was trying to
Yep.
think of like, I know there's more than just ice shanty and ice house.
Yeah, fish house is definitely one that I've heard.
Yeah.
I haven't heard that in a
Yep.
while though. That's weird.
Yeah. Isn't it feel weird
Yeah.
to say fish house again and be like, oh yeah,
Yep.
what happened to the word fish house? Seems like it's
Yeah.
been a
Just like,
minute.
yeah.
But the reason why because I saw it here in the doc as we're going through, we were talking about how the weight and the cost and all this stuff. And then you were talking about your sled, and I was like, oh yeah, okay, the sleds, right. Well, we'll get into the sleds again because we'll get into the brands. But there's a fish house and spear house. Like that's a totally two that can be two totally different things, because sometimes the fish house is like these pull behind, it maybe even a permanent, depending on if you build it or whatever, but like the height, right? Like you have to have a certain height to a spear.
Yep.
And so that makes a difference.
Yeah, and it has to be completely, like, you can't let any light in.
Yeah, it has to be dark. Which, as I was doing research, I think a lot of these are both, or could be both. Like if you already have a taller house, I think a lot of these, and this is something that the listeners out there should do. It's like, if you're going to do it, do even more research, because we're not going to get into that stuff here. But I think there's blackout windows. I think that a lot of these windows, they have blackout windows in them if you buy those taller houses right off the bat. So it could do both.
Right. Yeah, I think, well, for the most part, it depends on what your floor is set up like too. You know,
Good point.
if it's a taller pop up, that, you know, then it's whatever. I've never heard of anybody trying to spearfish in a pop up, but uh, yeah, you got to make sure that you can open the floor up, because you can't spearfish in a little hole. You know, you can't fish in an auger hole. I don't even know how you do it.
That's exactly what I was waiting for you to say.
Yeah. I don't even know how you do it. I've never done it before. I don't know if you go out there, if they probably have some sort of a saw, you know.
I've heard of different things.
Yeah, I think you like start with an auger hole. You like drill your hole. And then I think I've seen saws before that they gone out there. I've heard people using chainsaws and shit too, but
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I've seen and heard about chainsaws before. I've never been out there and experienced it before, but I've seen it on, you know, shows, programming of sorts, whatever you want to say, like entertainment. Like I've seen it in video form for sure.
Yep.
I mean, the chainsaw thing. So anyways, yeah, so the fish house, like the before we get into, like, you know, just like an ice house, like a pull behind, I want to talk about the sled, because the sled ice house combo thing is a real thing. And you said you have a sled that you bought to go along with all your stuff.
Yep.
And those aren't cheap either, right? Like, did you get a real deal, like clam pull behind or something like that? Or just
it's not made by Clam. It's a different, I can't remember what the brand is, but it's just a sled to put all your shit in, because they make ice houses that are like built onto that sled. And then mine is just a sled by itself. Those ice houses that are built onto the sled have like a whole, you know, metal structure, because your seats are right on those. So those are a lot different, and I think those sleds are, you know, a lot higher quality, because they gotta last. They can't break. You know, like mine shouldn't break in theory, but if mine does, I can just replace it. If that sled breaks, you're kind of fucked. Like it's a lot of work to switch it to a new one.
Right. Which we don't have to get straight into it, but like Clam, which not sponsored, by the way, Tim's just into it, has the hoodie.
Yeah. Well,
they sell their sleds. Man. Oh yeah, for sure. They make really good shit, and we'll obviously do that further. But the point that I'm trying to get here is, like, you said that sled with the ice house like built into it has to be super high quality. Well, that's what I was looking into, is like basically they would just sell these sleds on the side. So it's like, here's the same sled that we build our ice houses on. You can buy it too. But I get it. It's not like you went and bought a fucking sled from Target out of the kids section either.
Right. No,
but it's not that quality.
Yeah. No, mine's definitely, mine's definitely like a deep, bigger sled made to hold your ice fish and shit. But it's not
right on.
It's not Clam. I don't have, I use like Clam lures, and I have Ice Armor is there. That's like my jacket and snow pants. But
nice.
Everything else I have is different brand. Like my ice house itself is Frable, which everybody.
Oh, I didn't even have that one on the list.
Yeah, everybody knows Frable though, because they're like the most famous like minnow bucket maker out there.
Are
like
they the yellow topped minnow
yeah,
bucket with the white
yeah,
bottom and the black door?
yep, that's Frable.
Absolutely the most famous minnow bucket on the market.
Yep,
No
yep.
doubt there.
And I don't know if they've been making. I don't know if that's always been them, but they definitely make those, and they make a
Right.
bunch of different ice fishing stuff, and then they started making like rods and reels and stuff now too. So they have a whole
Oh,
line
nice.
of different stuff. But yeah, my house is a Frable Fortress where it's
Oh,
got a kind of
badass name.
revolutionary design. Yeah, where the bottom kind of fans out. If you look into it, the bottom fans
Mm.
out, and it gives you more fishing area
Oh, sweet.
than one of its size. Plus, it's really
Right.
tall, and I'm tall, so that's what I was looking for. Because
Yes.
some of them are only like 6 foot tall, and I'm six
Right.
two.
Right.
So I'm like, well, I'd rather not be bending down constantly. So mine, I think, is like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
80. I think mine's like 80 inches or 82 inches, something like
Okay.
that.
Okay. Yeah, and so that's something that I wanted to talk to you about because the houses that I looked into for this, it was clam, Eskimo, otter, and then I get into some ice castle and some permanent stuff like that. But like clam, Eskimo, otter, they're all making these cloth ones, like they're cloth pop-ups, right? I mean, that's kind of
Yeah.
their main brand.
Yep.
And it it made me go, like I said, this at the beginning, this 400 plus was a two person in quotes, and clam has a lot of these pull behinds with the sleds, and there's a chair built in, and it's like that seems like a one person sit down sort of situation, like that's what they're building for. And so it seems short. And yes, I wanted to ask you as a tall guy, like how does, like, I don't know. It seems like a different situation. I'm not I don't want to sound like I'm shitting on the like sit down ice house situation, but
Yeah.
I've always thought like taller's got to be more convenient for you, right? Like these kind of these littler ones, just
For sure. Yeah, like the sled ones are super nice in how they set up. You pull them out and then you just set it over. It's really nice for like moving spots. Like you can have a shelter
right,
set up and get yourself warm or at least out of the wind while you try a spot, and if it doesn't go your way, it's a lot easier to move. But it's definitely a pain in the ass. Like I've been in a lot of them where like when I'm sitting, it's fine because
sure,
I'm
of course,
sitting, but like
right,
every
yeah,
other
that's what
time
it's designed
I'm
for.
bent. Yeah. All the other times I'm bent over walking, and I'm just like, man, this sucks. And I think like the lower, catches the wind a little bit less, but if you put the
Sure,
anchors
sure.
in, then you don't have to worry about it because you can screw the ice anchors in, and they make them where they attach to drills, like cordless drills and everything. Even too, I don't bring a
Oh, do
cordless
they?
drill with me, but yeah, they do have versions where you can just like drill it in real quick, and
Oh
which
shit.
is super handy for some of the. They have attachments that make your cordless drill an auger too. Like you can,
Make your
yeah,
attachments. Oh,
it's
oh, oh.
it's like the
Yeah.
auger. Yeah, it's like a 6 inch the auger, and you can just put it to your cordless drill and use your cordless drill as an auger. But
Right.
if you're gonna do that, you have to have a nice drill. It says it
Right.
right on
Hmm.
the packaging that your drill has to do so much torque.
Right.
Like if you
Yeah.
go to Walmart and they have their, whatever the fuck the brand is now, it's called like Heart
Hmm.
or something, and it's
Hmm.
like the cheapest.
Cheapest fucking
Not
drill you've
shitting on it,
ever.
but like don't yeah, you can't go out there and get like a $89 drill, and then I'll buy, this $100 auger piece, and then I'll have a less than $200 auger. That drill isn't going to be able to handle it. But
Right.
that was a side note. Like if somebody has like a nice drill and they have that out there, and then you have the attachments
Hmm.
to put in the anchors and stuff, that drill is just like putting in work.
Yeah. 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 No
It's
kidding.
it's a it's a tool that does all sorts of stuff for you.
Yeah. No, I wanted to ask about the ice anchor because so these cloth ones that we're primarily continuing to talk about here are thick. they're pieces of cloth that you basically drape over a structure, right? Like, isn't that the easiest way to put it? Is like you have these bars, or it's like a tent, except for it's thick as fuck.
Well, not really.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
kind of the same material as tent. Like,
Yeah.
you can get thermal ones,
Mm-hmm.
but for the most part, it's kind of like mine's the same thing as a tent almost.
Okay.
Because if you had thick fabric, that's where you're like really starting to talk about more weight, you know?
Oh, right.
So
Good
mine's
point. Good
not
point.
mine's 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 the roof is insulated,
Mm.
but the rest of it isn't,
Oh, okay.
and that just kind of helps like the heat because heat rises, so
Right.
you insulate the top and it doesn't escape as much.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
um I haven't had any issues. I mean, I haven't been out, last week it was like 22 below zero real temp. I
Right.
wasn't out there then. I haven't tried that yet,
Right.
but
Right. Right. Right.
I've been out there,
Mm-hmm.
like 5-10 degrees, and just having that thing up, just being out of the wind is a huge, just body heat alone
Right.
in there, like, makes it feel more comfortable. And then I have a space heater too, so
Yeah, yeah, and that's kind of what I
um
was saying about the smaller ones earlier, is that like it's like a one person, you probably don't really need a heater as long as you can get yourself in there. That extra layer, you're already in your fucking winter gear, so then all you got to do is throw a tent over
yep.
yourself to get out of the wind, and you've got a pretty warm thing there. Like, people who aren't out in Minnesota, and please, if you're not from Minnesota and you're hearing this, like, go to the comments and let us know, because I want to talk to people who don't get it, because that's part of the back to the ice auger thing, is like, ice is super durable. It's rock hard water. You can,
It's crazy how much weight you can hold on. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and that
It's
drilling of the anchors to get the house into the the you literally anchor it into the ice.
yeah.
It's just, I think people,
Yep.
and you have to drill holes into the ice, and it's durable. You're not breaking it. It's like drilling through a piece of wood. It's like putting a hole in a floor. It's not gonna just shatter out and
Oh, for
and
sure.
and explode, and you're gonna fall through the ice. Like, it's durable.
Yeah, no, if anything, uh, it might, like if it's a decent day and the sun's hitting your anchor and it heats up that metal hot enough so it's not to freezing temperature anymore, and it, kind of makes everything wet,
Mhm.
and then it gets cold,
Mhm.
then it's like sturdier than having it in wood because now it refroze and it went
Mm.
from being just into the ice to now it's like part of the ice. The
It
ice
just
is just
fused
like
to be
it's ours
one.
now. Yes. This is mine.
Oh, that's a
But you
really
can
good way of
you
looking at it.
you can get it, you can get it out,
Right, right, of
but
course,
yeah.
of course.
But yeah, if you're from a different state, you're not aware. Like, I don't know if you ever seen that Ice Road Truckers show. Like, they're
Mhm,
legitimately
mhm.
driving 18 wheelers on ice. Like,
Right.
it's crazy durable.
Yeah.
Is If it's on a river, it's a little bit different situation when the water underneath it's moving.
Right,
But
right,
when the on a lake, when the water underneath it is stable,
right.
then
It's
it's
stable
just a
as
matter of
well.
how thick it is.
Yeah. Yep, yeah,
They
exactly.
all tell you. Yep, they say it all over the place. Ice is never 100% safe, and it's always because there's, like, weird pockets and stuff,
Mhm,
and
mhm.
you gotta pay attention to the warning signs because some of the shorelines have aerators or whatever going, and then
Mhm,
it doesn't let it freeze over, so there's certain spots,
mhm.
even though it's cold as hell and the rest of the lake has 15 inches of ice, there's still spots you can fall through just walking on it, but,
Yeah, and those are almost always
um
well marked when you're talking about the aerators and stuff like that. That's No, it is always well marked
yes,
because they're put
yeah,
in there by
yeah.
DNR, local officials, someone, like, people know they're there, and so they purposely go out and make an effort to be like, "Don't fucking fall through here. We did some shit over the summer, and, like, it's doing a thing."
Right, yep. They'll put signs out way before you get to the thin ice that say "Caution, thin ice." So, Plus, most of the time, like, you're not the first person driving on the ice. I'm never the first person driving on the ice. I'm not fucking with that.
Oh, okay, man. Another technical hiccup, and we're back.
These interwebs,
okay, so
man, it's just like,
yeah, I know.
what?
Seriously,
Who even
we've
knows?
had such good luck, so I guess we can't complain too much. We've done, almost 50 episodes now, and we're hitting one bad one. Like, okay, like we'll take it, I guess. But son of a bitch. Okay, so we were talking about the ice anchors and the screwing in and all that stuff, and
Yep.
that fun and how the ice gets crazy. But the fabric, how you said on yours specifically, it goes out more.
Yeah.
Now, does that mean it's kind of like it's skinnier at the top and wider at the bottom?
It is,
Just generally
yeah,
speaking.
it is a little bit skinnier at the top and then wider at the bottom, but it's not a lot skinnier than others. It's actually, um, it's like, uh, I don't know how they measure it, but the dimensions
Mm-hmm.
are all the same. It's like, you know how they, when
Mm-hmm.
they measure it, they give you the height, the width, and the, um, what the fuck would the other one be?
Depth is the
Depth.
only
Yeah,
thing that I
yep,
can
yep,
think
yeah,
of.
that's what it is. So it's the height,
Uh-huh.
width, and depth because some of them are like two houses in one. You can buy like a double.
Oh,
Yeah, so
okay.
it's like two squares right next to each other where there's an opening in the middle.
Oh,
So,
right.
yeah,
Okay.
and, so it'll give you those dimensions, and mine is like, I wanna say it's like 82 inches, and it's like 82 high by 82 wide by 82 long, but the bottom
Mm-hmm.
definitely fans out more than the top.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's got plenty of
Okay.
space, but how it
Interesting.
fans out, yeah, and it kinda, where other houses are like the 4 sides, so you got 4
Mm-hmm.
corners,
Mm-hmm.
mine is like an octagon.
Oh
Yeah,
shit.
yeah,
Okay.
it's kind of a smaller, you know, it's not a
UFC
perfect,
ring.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So but it's kind of weird. It has 4 sides, but then it has like
Okay.
8 points. It's hard to explain if you ever check it out.
Interesting.
Yeah. And the way that fans out,
Okay.
instead of having that square, it's cutting out,
Mm-hmm.
an extra like foot. So basically I have space to put stuff all the way around, and the way it works out is that two of the counters actually, or two of the corners, two of the main points have fabric,
Mm-hmm.
or it's like nylon material,
Mm-hmm.
whatever you want to call it, but
Yeah.
it actually is like above the ice, so I can put stuff on there that I want to keep dry. It's not sitting like right on the snow or the ice.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah,
Sweet.
yeah, so it's pretty cool like that. And yeah, then I can put stuff on in those corners and the other corners, and you can literally like, all of the floor is fishable because you have that space to put your stuff wherever you want.
Right.
So
Right.
that
Cool.
one, yeah, that one, I would say I could comfortably fish 3 people, and it says it's like a
Nice.
4-person setup,
Mm-hmm.
where if you
Right. And
had,
you'd feel comfortable with the three.
yeah, and if you have the same
Yeah.
dimensions in another one where they're not normally that big anyways, like if you can get bigger than that. They
Right.
make bigger than that. But and I've seen some really nice ones. Like there's some pop-ups that are, Clam does make some dope ones. But like you were talking about,
Yeah.
then you're
Yeah.
talking
For
about
sure.
price. I think I got mine from,
Yeah.
Omnia. Shout out to Omnia Fishing. They had like a Black Friday sale,
Oh yeah. Oh,
on
for sure.
this specific ice house, and I think I got it for like, I don't even remember, just over $200 or something.
Nice for a
Yes,
3-person.
yeah, four
Nice.
person, which 3-person is
Oh
like
yeah,
comfortable.
4-person.
You
Right.
can
You're
easily
just
fish
yeah,
three.
the 3-person, right? Yeah, yeah. That's why I was saying earlier, like the 2-person is in quotes to me
Oh
because
yeah,
I
it's
like
just
to look
like
at that
jet
like,
skis, dude.
but
It's the numbering on them are a joke. Where they're like, it's a
right,
2-person
right. You're
jet
like,
ski.
yeah, you could ram 2 people on there.
Yeah, exactly. Where it says 2-person jet ski, and I'm sitting on the seat, and I'm like, where is the other person supposed to go? Like,
Right,
how big
right.
are these two people?
I don't understand. Right. What is this fucking 2 12-year-olds? This is weird.
Right,
Uh
right.
so So I wanted to talk about like the ice anchor part. So some of these, so they only have like four corners that kind of pop out, and then you just drill them in and whatever, they're anchored down. But then there's others got these ice skirts or snow skirts, they're called,
Oh yeah.
where it kind of like fans out over the top, and I guess you can pack snow on top of it to try to like insulate more.
Yeah, yep,
I, I think that's the point,
yeah, I
right?
think almost all of those have it. Yeah, you just put the snow on there, and then it just, like, stops the wind from getting down. And
Like in, yeah, it stops the wind from just blowing in underneath the house,
yep,
which is huge. Like if you've never been on the ice, it's just wide open space. Obviously, wind is always ripping across that in the winter time. Like that's, I just saw that and I was like, oh, of course that's a thing. I didn't even think about it, but like, what a big deal when it comes to like the thermals of this.
yeah.
Like such a small thing to think about, but such a big deal when it comes to temperature control inside that house. Like,
Yeah, even on, like, those foldovers or whatever they call, like, I forget what the exact term is, but when you fold them down,
mm-hmm.
those even have the flaps, so you put it down, and then you can shovel snow onto it real quick to stop the
Nice,
wind from
nice,
coming in. My
nice.
brother-in-law actually, I'm sure you got the idea from somebody else, but has, like, a big, um, chain, like a real thick, heavy duty, big gauge, like,
Oh,
chain link chain.
like just like a heavy towing chain or something.
Yes, yep, yep, and then he just puts that on there.
Nice,
Yeah, which,
nice. That's a really good idea.
yeah, it's not a bad idea. Again, with the whole metal thing, like,
But the
if
weight.
there's some snow and it melts and then it, like, freezes, that chain might
Mm.
freeze to the
Mm-hmm.
fabric.
Right.
So,
And
I
speaking of
didn't
the
ask him if
fabric,
he
you
ever had
said yours
problems.
is like a, oh, sure. Yeah. I know what you're saying though. But the fabric, so you said like yours is like, I don't know, they're just tents. Like mine's probably like a tent. But then as I'm looking these up, I'm looking up clam and Eskimo and stuff like this. And it's like they have thermal fabrics on a lot of these, and they're
Yeah.
patented. Like they don't fuck around, dude. They patent
No, yeah.
that fabric.
Yep. Yeah, they're like squares. So they're still, cuz they want the thermal stuff to, like,
Mm-hmm.
stay in place. It'd get all fucked up, I'm sure, if you just put a thermal sheet in there and tried to sew it. So it's like a bunch of squares. It's like
Mm-hmm.
like a 4x4 or 5x5, like, square, like, filled with stuff, and there's a bunch of
Okay.
them, and that's like all the thermals.
Oh,
So they're like,
really?
yeah, and that adds weight, which is not a big deal,
Sure.
but and it adds price.
But
Another
it can
reason I
be.
didn't get
Right.
the thermal definitely is
Right,
like
right.
almost always they're like almost twice as much. It's like, here's your
Yeah.
regular one for
Right.
300, the thermal 600.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. That makes total sense. As I was looking these up, dude, it was really cool. So I don't know, what was the name of your brand again? I forgot.
Fraybill.
Fravel.
Yep.
Okay. I don't know where they're from, but do you know?
Minnesota, I think. I think it's a
Okay, yeah.
Minnesota company.
Looking these up. So Clam is right out of Rogers there, not too far.
I
That's right
drive by it
in
every day.
between us.
That's
Yeah.
right on
Eskimo.
94. Yep.
Yeah. Eskimo's out of Wisconsin. Otter, Maple Lake, Ice Castle. If you don't know Ice Castle, but so these three, Otter Outdoors, Eskimo, Clam, they're the big ones. Like you just Google like ice house, ice shanty, whatever, and ice fishing house. And those are like the three that really pop to the top quick. At least if you Google it in Minnesota, those are the three that pop up. But I'm just like, yeah, of course, lots of. Why wouldn't we? Like,
Right.
this is, what else is going to be Canada? Like, of course. And then Ice Castle. These motherfuckers are RVs basically that just lower to the ground. It's
Yeah.
is Minnesota like a
Yeah.
Minnesota and Wisconsin. That's where you get your ice houses from. Like they're the ones who own all the ice houses or run all the ice house companies. It was just crazy to see.
Right. Yeah. For the most part, man, that's exactly what it is. And, it's, they have ice in other states, but I think they have a way smaller window than we do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I think it's just not marketable in most of those states where they
Right.
focus on the summer stuff because they're like, it's probably like school for them. They view themselves as like teachers. You know,
They take 3 months
here's
off
our
from
summer
fishing, right?
vacation. You know, yeah, yeah. We just take the 3 months off, and we'll be back.
Right, we get like
I
5 or
was trying to
6
look where
of ice.
Frable is located.
Okay. Yeah, I kinda thought you might be, but
Yeah.
I just wanted to throw that out there because they're so close. I mean, I didn't get the exact location of Eskimo. I just didn't go into it. But you know Eskimo because they're the big red cloth houses that are out there. So you've seen them. If you don't know it, if you don't know the brand just off the top of your head, you've definitely seen it. Also,
Yeah.
they didn't do much of the sled thing. That was the one thing that I sort of noticed. Is like Eskimo, they make really nice houses. They seem taller. They seemed more like they were cloth, right? But they didn't do the sled so much. But it's kind of like
Yeah.
clam and otter. They really were pretty much sleds. Like you got a sled, you got a chair, you got some cloth to throw over yourself.
Yeah, Otter. That's who I got. That's the sled I have.
Oh yeah, the Otter Outdoors.
I
Yep.
think.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's an Otter sled.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
the Frable is from Wisconsin.
Oh, they are out of Wisconsin too. See, so there you go. We got one of each.
Yep.
Now,
Yep. So
before
we're all right here.
before we wrap up ice houses, I want to, because again, Ice Castle. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of these. Anybody out there, listeners, if you haven't heard, just Google Ice Castle. They're fucking RVs. In fact, if you go to their website and you look far enough, they literally have an RV, a fifth wheel RV that lowers to the ground so you can ice fish out of it. Like, dude, it blew my mind.
Like that you drive?
Like I when I say a fifth wheel RV, I'm talking about like this was such a big RV that you needed that special like horse trailer hitch in the back of your dually truck to pull this
Oh,
ice house around.
yeah. Well, I think RV is you
Oh,
have to drive it itself.
I get what you're saying. I'm
Yeah.
saying RV. I don't mean RV. I mean like a camping trailer. Your RV
Yeah,
means
like a big
recreational
camper. Yep.
vehicle. You're right. I'm saying that wrong. They're trailers. They're still just trailers.
Right. Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
But they are, yeah,
campers.
big old camper trailers.
Yeah,
Like,
camper trailers.
yeah,
Thank you.
they have I've yeah, there's quite a few dual axle ones that I see all over the place. You got to wait quite a bit when you're talking two axles,
Right.
you know? Like
Good point. Good point.
that's the same thing with like a boat. Yeah, when I see a boat going down the side of the road and it has like a single axle,
Mhm.
like my dad's is an 18-foot boat with a 150 horse motor, single axle.
Right.
I see a dual axle on a boat. I'm like, God damn, this is a big ass boat, you know? And it's the same thing with the ice house. You see a dual axle, you're like, Jesus, I don't think I've ever seen a fifth wheel in real life. But yeah, it's basically the semi, um,
Yeah. There you go.
the hookup. You
Yeah.
know, that big old thing in the back of the bed of the truck. It takes up the whole bed of the truck.
Yeah. Yeah. I
And then
dove
it
deep enough into the
hooks
Ice
on
Castle
there.
website. I saw one of those like as an option and I'm just like, "Holy shit." That thing's
Yeah, I don't know if
crazy.
it's Ice Castle, but my brother-in-law has a permanent like that. And they have, you know, like
Mhm.
some of them have manual crank where it's like a winch style where you can
Mm.
lower the whole thing lowers down.
Mhm.
Like the
Yeah.
wheels
The reels
will just
retract
kind of like
into the
rotate
building
underneath the
almost.
thing.
Right.
Yep, yep, and then it just sits right on the ice.
Yep.
And some of the nice ones are powered. You just like drive up and hit a button and it's like it's got hydraulics. It's
Is it
not
even a
it's
permanent
a
at that
motor,
point
you know, it's
anymore?
not hydraulics, but
No, I know what you mean. But is it even a
not
perm
really.
Yeah, that's what
You
I'm
know, you
saying.
could yeah. You could just hit a button and drive off. Yeah,
Right.
it'd be pretty easy to move that one.
Even though it's fucking
But
huge.
yeah, dude, that's what you get though when you spend money. It just everything
Mhm.
uh on all aspects. That's why it can get so expensive because the more money you spend, in my view of almost everything fishing, whether it's ice or not, the more money you spend, the more convenient shit gets. And
Oh,
that's a lot of it is that you're
yeah,
just paying for convenience.
for
Like I could
sure.
use a shitty rod and reel to fish, but I'm spending more money because the nice rod and reel is more convenient for
Mhm.
that. It does exactly what I want it to do, and it
Right.
makes it
Yep.
easier. I'm not struggling,
It behaves, it
and it's the
performs,
same
it,
thing.
like,
Like,
has so many different things. We've talked about reels and
yeah,
we've talked about rods specifically too. It's just like all these different feels and flexes and all this stuff. It just makes it easier and more convenient to fish. It's the same with these ice houses. It's like the more money you spend, it's like, yeah, clam is a really fucking nice fish house. You can spend $400 and get a decent pull behind sled with one chair in it or two chairs in it and nice cloth, or you could also do the same pull behind thing and end up spending $1,200 and it seats like 6 people and it's still got its sled and everything like that. But then if you spend
yep,
6 grand, you could get a trailer. It's just like it, it
right.
has the same portability
And
almost
there's
being a trailer as it does being a
right. Well,
sled,
there's
but you need the vehicle. Like there's just a lot of goes into it.
yeah, I mean, like, the ultimate for me, like, if I had the money and I wanted to set up, I sent you a picture of it. You get one of those, like, fold over houses, so you can just move, and those you can get like the metal tongue on it, like a trailer almost,
Oh,
that'll hook up to like a four-wheeler or a snowmobile.
right, right.
So then you just drive your snowmobile. A lot of those snowmobiles have mounts where they have like the GPS unit
Yep,
like right in between the steering wheel. So you're driving, you got your lake map, you get to where you want to go,
yep.
you stop, you go back, you drill a hole, you check stuff out. You're like, oh yeah, this is where I want to be. You set up shop, and then you fish there for a little while. And if
Hmm.
it doesn't quite, seem to be where you want to go,
Hmm.
then you just keep driving.
Yeah.
And this is a little bit off topic too, but when I'm talking about like convenience with everything, like we've talked before about like the live target, and
Yep.
Garmin has,
Yeah.
I think, is live target, and then they
Mhm.
have different versions for the other ones where it's showing you an almost instantaneous like feed of what it's seeing directly in front of it, and it's directional, so it's showing you like you can the
Yeah.
bigger fish, you can almost see the fish. Like I mean, like not just that it's like a blob that looks like a fish, that you can see, like, I can tell you what kind of fish that is.
Right, right,
And
right.
just by looking at it, it's insane. And uh, because of that direction, these running and gunning type dudes, when they're fishing for crappies or whatever, they'll drill a bunch of holes in like a big circle, and you can put that down and you can aim it around, and when you find a school, you can see a
Mhm.
school,
Mhm.
then oh, I gotta go that direction, and you just literally walk towards the hole that you drilled that's over in that
Right,
direction.
right.
And you're just eliminating all this dead water, and you're moving around, and those guys,
Mhm.
like, what's a snowmobile? 10
Mhm.
grand, and then your ice house, you got a nice flip
Yep.
over things like $2,000, and then that live target is like $3,000, and then the auger that's set up with the mount on your
Right,
snowmobile, and then you
right.
start adding all that stuff in, and it's like 20 grand later, you have a real dope, where you're running
And
and
it's
gunning,
not.
and I'm like,
No, go ahead.
yeah, I spent like $500 total, and I pull out a fucking sled, and I sit in one spot because I'm like, oh,
So
I'm not really catching much here, but I really don't want to
right,
move
right.
again.
Exactly. And you said all of that stuff, and it's like, or you could buy one ice castle and hook it to your truck that you hopefully already own, and it's not nearly as mobile as you said, and it won't cover as much water as you just said. And
Right.
like that's the part about the permanence is as we kind of wrap up here things is like
And
these permanents, they're harder to move, they're harder to go. If you had an ideal situation, it wouldn't be a permanent, would it? Like, isn't that what you just said?
no, ideal is like snowmobile and the sled, because not only is it's not easier to get it to the lake, because you still have to put like your snowmobile on
Right.
the trailer and stuff, but I can use that setup to fish ice way before I can fish a permanent.
Mm.
I need way less ice to
It's just
go
so
out
much lighter.
with a
It's
snowmobile
just so
and a
much
sled.
lighter and like, yeah.
Yeah, way,
Mhm,
way
mhm.
lighter.
And would it be
because you park your truck at the landing and then you take your snowmobile.
Right. Yeah. With a permanent, you need your truck. And so also that would allow you to fish earlier and later, right?
Yeah.
It just extends the ice season a lot.
Even if the ice, right. Yeah, exactly. Because even if the ice is thick, it's like beginning of March. You got to get it off. Like that's the rules.
Right.
You hit March and the permanents come off the ice, because any day it could be like, yep, yeah, it's like, oh, it's like 70 today. And you're like, oh shit.
Really well, even with all our technical hiccups and
snowmobile,
what the fuck else.
I forgot what it was.
I think let's just wrap it up before we hit another bad glitch, which we might have already done. But we're
wrap it up. I did hear a little like you were gone and then you came back as I was talking.
Right.
So I don't know if that got a little bit convoluted for the listeners, but yeah, I was just saying that,
okay.
I think it's like 6 inches for a snowmobile, and I think you need to have like 10 for a truck. I think it's like 4 for a person, 6 for a snowmobile, and like 8 or 10 for a truck. And that's for 1,500 like size truck. When you get to fifth wheel size, I don't know. Do you live like in the coldest parts of Canada to make that worth it?
All right, man. Yeah, let's just wrap it up then before we hit another technical glitch. Let's hope that this worked out, and we'll try to sort things out a little bit more for the random take, a little more better for the random take, where we are going to talk about what you're listening to, what we're listening to. We're just going to talk about music because it's been a fucking minute, man.
It's been a minute. We got to talk about music. I can't wait, man.
I know. Me neither. I'm excited. All right. Let's hit the break.
Whoa.